In her waning days in the U.S. Congress, Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii is again making headlines. On Thursday, the Hawaii Democrat and unsuccessful U.S. presidential candidate introduced a bill her office said will ensure Title IX protections for women and girls in sports. According to a press release, given the average difference in abilities conferred by biological sex, this bill would clarify Title IX protections for female athletes as based on biological sex. Title IX is the landmark legislation that was championed by the late Patsy Mink, the Democrat whose seat Gabbard now holds. Among other things, it provides equal opportunity for women and girls in high school and college sports. But the Protect Women's Sports Act, co-introduced by Republican Representative Marquayne Mullin of Oklahoma, is being described by critics as anti-transgender. Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard wants to change the landmark Title IX legislation, which has upset some supporters of transgender rights. Corey Lum, Civil Beat. Tulsi Gabbard is now introducing a blatantly transphobic piece of legislation aimed at trans and non-binary young people, civil rights activist Charlotte Clymer wrote on Twitter of the bill, HuffPost reported Thursday. Remember when Tulsi Gabbard tried to convince us she was an LGBTQ ally? We knew she was a liar, a fraud, wrote Zeke Stokes, former chief programs officer of LGBTQ rights organization GLAAD. And here is a statement from the Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center. Transgender persons in Hawaii are afforded broad protection under state anti-discrimination statutes. Public schools should clearly take additional measures to help ensure the health and well-being of their transgender students, who are already less likely to get adequate nutrition, sleep, or exercise than their LGB and cisgender peers, according to a 2018 report from the Hawaii State Department of Health. The report also found that transgender youth are 4 times more likely to skip school because of feeling unsafe compared to their cisgender peers. Transgender youth experience higher rates of housing instability and sexual violence and are more likely to engage in high-risk behaviors, including the use of alcohol and other drugs. Inviting transgender student participation in sports is welcome, but it is just one policy response of many that are needed to improve the health and well-being of Hawaii's transgender students. HHHRC also supports changes to federal law that provide protections for transgender persons in housing, public accommodations, and education, including the right to participate in publicly funded sports activities. But Gabbard, who cites Mink in her press release, said, "Our legislation protects Title IX's original intent, which was based on the general biological distinction between men and women athletes based on sex." Said Mullin, "As the father of 3 girls involved in athletics, I want them to be able to compete on a level playing field."